Labor leader Chris Hipkins is a former Education Minister too and joins us now. Chris, good morning.
Good morning.
Do you think the system needs to be changed the way that the government's saying it does?
Oh, I think there is a compelling case for changes to the NCEA. We were working on changes when COVID came along, which disrupted all of that. But yes, I do think there are some big issues around NCEA, and as always, I think the government has made a promising start, but the devil's going to be in the detail here. And so let's see what they actually come up with.
What do you make of your education spokesperson put out a statement yesterday talking about students and their anxiety? Students and their anxiety, making changes won't help. I mean, so do we just give up on them then? If a student's feeling a bit anxious, well, you don't have to sit an exam. We won't change the qualification even though we know it's crap.
No, I think the point that Willow Jean Prime was making is that we need to make sure that as we change the NCEA, that we're not causing unnecessary disruption for those who are currently doing it. And that is always going to be a balance for the government. It was a balance when we were reviewing the NCEA too. You've got to recognise that even though the government is proposing to change it significantly, right here today, there are kids who are going through the NCEA now, and we need to continue to support them. So I think they're a bit anxious about this because they're sort of thinking, what does this mean for the qualification that I'm going to get and that I'm going out into the world with? And so I think we just need to always keep that in mind.
Have you guys got a secret capital gains tax on the boil that we don't know about?
Oh, it's no secret that the Labor Party is going through a policy review process. Tax is one of the many issues that we're talking about. But we're really focused on how do we turn this economy around?
Have they voted on it?
How do we get people back into jobs? We haven't finalised any new policy announcements yet.
So there's been no vote from the party's policy council with a narrow margin going for a capital gains tax over a wealth tax?
We haven't finalised our tax policy, Ryan. The party's policy council are working through the recommendations they want to make. That doesn't end the matter. There's still further parts of that process to go through, and including the fact that finally the policy needs to be approved. That hasn't happened.
Right. So the policy councils voted for it narrowly for a capital gains tax over a wealth tax. They then recommend it to who in the party?
The final manifesto is approved by the party's MPs and the party's council, New Zealand Council of the Labor Party.
Right.
So they approved the final manifesto. We're a long way away from that yet.
Right. Are you happy they're not going with a wealth tax though at this point?
As I said, we haven't approved a policy yet. We don't have one yet, and so tax is one of many issues that we've got to work through. I mean, I've said jobs, health, homes, and re-election on the cost of living are our 4 key priority areas. That's what the Policy Council's focusing on, working its ideas up on, and that's a good thing.
Right. Do you think it's going to be a vote winner?
Look, at the end of the day, we've still got a lot of work to go before we announce any policy. We're not announcing any at this point.
Is something drastic like this needed to fix the country?
I think we do need to make some big decisions. I think the last thing any New Zealanders want to see is the record exodus of Kiwis, talented Kiwis to Australia and further afield continue. We're going to have to turn the economy round, and I think more tinkering around the edges isn't going to do it.
Okay, so we need a big, bold tax. And you're not saying, obviously, whether you go with a capital gains tax or whether you go with a wealth tax, but is it fair to say that you will have one of those as a key plank of your policy platform?
When we've got a tax policy to announce, Ryan, I'm sure we'll tell you all about it.
What exactly is the gap that a capital gains tax needs to fill?
Well, if we adopt that, be happy to answer those questions. But at this point, we haven't adopted that as a policy, so can't answer questions on a policy we haven't adopted.
No, but we can talk about policies that you're investigating, because why would you investigate them unless there was a need for them? What's the need?
Well, if you want to engage in the policy process, join the Labor Party. You'd be happy to. You'd be very welcome to do that, Ryan.
Yeah, but
you'd probably surprise a lot of the people there.
Can you just tell us? So you've got an entire party looking at a policy that you don't even know needs to be looked at. I mean, we can talk about the basics of it, surely.
Oh, look, no, I haven't said that at all. And I don't think it's fair to say the entire party's looking at it. The entire party is engaged in the policy process. People join parties usually because they have strong views on a range
but you said we need
people
we need a big
strong
policy.
views on health and education and housing and so on as well. So
You said we need a big policy like this to fix the big problems that we've got. So what's the big problem that the policy would be fixing?
Well, ultimately, I don't think we want to see New Zealand continue to slide down the path of being a low-wage economy where people who want to be able to work hard,
So will a capital gains tax lift our wages?
Buy their own home, feel they have to leave the country. I think we do have to turn that around and stop that. And that's what we're focused on. And we're looking at a range of things around how we can really get New Zealanders back to work and make sure that their hard work is being rewarded.
How does a capital gains tax increase wages?
Well, as I've said, when we announce a tax policy, I'll be happy to answer questions on it.
How does increasing taxes increase wages?
As I've said, Ryan, when we have a policy around tax, I'll be happy to answer questions on it.
Okay. What about Megan Woods? What's going on there? Is she on the way out?
No, Megan indicated that she doesn't want to stay for another 2 terms of Parliament. And so, when the boundaries have just been redrawn, she's taken the view that with the boundaries of her electorate having been redrawn quite significantly, it's a good opportunity for a new person to get in there and get themselves established. She's committed to serving at least 1 more term, and she wants to stand on the party list to do that. I think that's not uncommon in a system like MMP. Bill English did that, Michael Cullen did that, Grant Robertson did that. I think having a senior MP say that that's the way they want to do it, I think is quite sensible.
See, we're getting lots more coal from Indonesia. Be better if we got it from our own backyard?
I think we should be focusing on moving away from burning coal in the first place. I think if we really focused on expanding our renewable energy sources, including in geothermal, which is a potentially unlimited supply of renewable energy, we wouldn't need to be talking about coal.
No, but it's a reality. It's a short-term necessity, right?
No, I think, there are some of the energy companies, including those who want to burn coal, that want you to believe that, but there are alternatives. And their underinvestment in renewable energy is one of the reasons that we have the shortage that we have at the moment.
But the energy companies, we just had one on this morning, saying without this, we would probably have blackouts.
Well, let's be clear, the energy companies want to continue to ramp up the price. They want New Zealanders to pay more. Renewable energy is cheaper. If they're burning fossil fuels, then that pushes up the price that everybody pays, and that's better for the energy companies. I think we've got to really focus on more renewable energy so people have to pay less for their electricity.
Yeah. Okay. What about the oil and gas ban? We had Willie Jackson on the other day. He said that it wasn't your policy that you would bring the ban on oil and gas offshore exploration back in. Can you clarify what your policy is?
Well, we haven't finalised that yet, Ryan, so it's much like the same questions around that you were just asking me before. When we finalised our policies for the next election, I'll be happy to answer questions on them. But fossil fuels are not the way of the future. Renewable energy is the way of the future. The whole world is moving away from fossil fuels, and New Zealand has gone from being at the front of the pack to being right at the back of the pack.
Can you see why this is a little odd?
We owe it to future generations to make sure that we're focused on the future.
Yeah. Can you see it's a little odd for people when you say, oil and gas is not part of our future, not part of the world's future, we don't need it. But then you won't say that you'll bring the ban back in?
Well, part of the issue is that we don't know, where the government are going with this. We don't know what contracts they may sign between now and the next election. So you're asking us to speculate on something that at this point is hypothetical. We don't know what the government are going to be doing in the next few months. We don't even know if those oil and gas companies will want to come back. The government are now offering them $200 million of taxpayer money subsidies to come and explore for gas. We may find that they spend that $200 million and there's nothing there, and it will be $200 million of taxpayer money that the current government have simply wasted. We could spend that money on guaranteed sources of new electricity generation in the form of renewable energies, and if they did that, we'd be well on the way to making sure we don't have the shortages that we've seen in recent years.
All right. Appreciate your time this morning, Chris. Thanks very much for coming on.